Hello Vietnamese manufacturing fans, my name is Chris and I'm here at LHD Law Firm in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Today we're talking about how to set up a company in Vietnam. So the first thing you have to do is you have to choose your business structure. The options that you have are a private enterprise, limited liability company, joint stock company, partnerships, foreign-owned enterprise, state-owned enterprise, and a representative office. The second thing you have to do is you have to choose your name. You can use symbols and you can use numbers. If you're a 100% Vietnamese-owned company, you just need a Vietnamese name. If you're a partnership, Vietnamese plus foreign-owned company, you need both an English name and a Vietnamese name. The third thing you need to do is prepare the application documents. So there's something called the Enterprise Registration Form. You also have to fill out a company charter, an office lease agreement, and there's 4 other forms that you need to fill out. And you can Google it online, or you can get help from a service company, which I'll explain later. Next is you have to submit your application to the government, and you have 2 options. You can go to the offices yourself and submit the forms directly, or you can hire a service. I recommend hiring a service. 4 years ago, I tried to do the whole process myself. I ended up going to the office 3 times. I had a Vietnamese friend helping me, and in the end, we still ended up using LHD Law Firm. So either use a law firm or use brokers. There are individuals that offer a service of setting up companies in Vietnam, and the price can range from as little as $1,000 all the way up to $5,000. The next step is you have to obtain your business registration certificate. If you're a 100% Vietnamese-owned factory, you'll have what's called the ERC, Enterprise Registration Certificate. If you're a Vietnamese and foreign-owned company, like a partnership, you also have to have what's called an IRC, which is Investment Registration Certificate. The next step is you have to register with the tax department. And on your ERC that I mentioned earlier, there is a TIN, which is Tax Identification Number. And basically, you just register that number with the tax department. And from that moment on, you're responsible for paying sales tax and income tax in Vietnam. In Vietnamese, that number is called MST, which means Ma, so Thuế. It becomes the lifeline of your company. And every transaction you do, income or expenses, are associated with that tax identification number. The next step you have to do is you have to open up a bank account. If you're a 100% Vietnamese-owned company, then you only need one current account in Vietnam dong. But if you are a partnership, like half Vietnamese, half foreign-owned, or any percentage, then you need to have 4 accounts. You have to have a VND current account, a VND capital account. You have to have a USD current account and a USD capital account. So it can get complicated. But you've got to do it, and you can use any Vietnamese bank in Vietnam. They all offer the service of business accounts. I personally use Vietcom Bank, and so far they've been very helpful. And I've had some issues. It was just going through a learning curve, but they helped me through it, and now I know how to do all my company banking in Vietnam. There are some areas of business that require a special additional business registration, for example, banking, real estate, or education. So if your business is on that list of special areas of business, you have to get an additional certificate. But until you choose your area of business, you may or may not need it. The next thing you have to do is you have to get your red stamp. So every company in Vietnam has a red stamp, which is a company seal. And every time you have a contract, you have to sign the contract and then you stamp on top of your signature. Plus, you spread the pages out. You stamp on all the pages so that the seal is visible on all pages. And once you've got your stamp, you're ready to do business. Next thing you have to do is you have to register your employees with the insurance department. So in Vietnam, all companies have to pay about 23.5% for social insurance, unemployment insurance, and medical insurance, and union insurance. And then the staff, they have to pay around 10.5% as well for all those insurances. And it's a huge paper trail, and it has to be clearly documented, and everything has to be submitted to the government to make sure that all those insurances are paid. So that was a quick general list of the steps you need to take in order to open up a company in Vietnam. I highly recommend LHD Law Firm. They can help you, or you can hire an individual private freelance broker that can help you through the whole process. Are you interested in producing your merch here in Vietnam? I can help you. Each Friday, I offer a webinar where we talk about 7 rookie mistakes to avoid when you produce with factories in Vietnam. And at the end of the webinar, I open it up for questions and answers. Link to join is in the description below. Hope to see you there. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. And remember, thoughts are things, and where there's a will, there's a way. Welcome to Vietnam.